It's Good Friday, markets are closed, banks aren't moving money, but people are still working and signing deals today. They just can't settle them, unless you're on chain, because this new economy never closes. But honestly, that hits different now. I've been thinking about everyone impacted by my former employer Linqto, especially those of us who purchase shares like Circle through the platform. Public company shares now tied up in a Chapter 11 bankruptcy of a secondary private market investment platform, shares we believed we owned. For years, Linqto provided access to private markets with nearly 10 IPOs or liquidity events fulfilled. And historically, those shares or cash equivalents were always delivered to the investor. So when access, ownership, and liquidity all of a sudden become uncertain, that calls for a much bigger conversation. One day you qualify as an accredited investor, you invest, and you gain exposure into these assets through structured vehicles like SPVs. And the next day, the narrative shifts, and suddenly, everything is now in question. What would be a critical blow to everyday investors is if access was granted one day only for those assets to be taken away the next, or restructured because you no longer meet a qualification standard. Let's say I purchase Ripple shares as an accredited investor, and tomorrow I no longer qualify. Are you saying I lose rights to an asset I already purchased? Do I need to restructure my entire life, move homes, shift assets, just to maintain ownership? Why should anyone have to make those moves just to hold on to something they already own? So, Mr. President Trump and those at the helm of our great country, there's a serious disconnect in how ownership is defined across our fragmented financial system. We need to rethink what ownership actually means. We need to create a clearer, fairer pathway to accessing private markets, where most wealth is created. It's time to abolish the outdated accredited investor rule. It's finished. So again, I'll be saying a little prayer for our Linqto investments, like our Circle shares, now valued at around $90 in the open market. For me, that's $90,000 that's currently locked up that I can't deploy into my business or spend with my family. But aside from that, I'm wishing you all a wonderful Easter weekend. If you celebrate, thanks for tuning in. Love you mucho.